So why said no even though he was a good Christian man? Ooh, let's talk about it. Hey fam, my name is Jumoke Win, and I'm one half of When I Love. My husband and I, we coach single Christian women to meet, date, and marry eligible Christian men. And if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, make sure that you do subscribe and you hit that bell so that you can get more great notifications. Or great content. Yeah. So, a little bit of a chatty video today. Now, why I said no even though he was a good Christian man. I want to talk about this because I think that what needs a little bit more merit in Christian spaces is not just spirituality, but more practicality. And unfortunately, a lot of women are using spirituality as, I don't want to say a scapegoat, but like it's like a cop out. Like we don't have proper vetting skills and we don't know how to properly vet men. So we are relying on signs and wonders, which can be very deceptive because everyone is not going to receive a sign from God or the heavens. God said, this is your spouse, because God doesn't choose our spouses for us. He just he positions two people, right? To maybe me, and he presents an opportunity, but it's for those two people to agree to be together. But it's not like there's this one special person on earth that you have to marry, right? That this is God's perfect will. You have to marry him. No, there's a lot of men in God's kingdom that you can marry and God will be glorified in your marriage and he can sanctify you through that marriage. Okay. Besides that, I do think that there is merit to compatibility. But instead of looking for compatibility, a lot of women are looking for spirituality. And I wanted to just share a story of how I could have been caught in that same trap, but I just thank God for wisdom. So while I was single, even though I was in delusion, a lot of you guys know that I was single for 6 years. I got married in 6 months, but part of the reason I was single for those 6 years is because I thought my ex was the one. And in thinking he was the one, I thought one day he was going to come back, we were going to get married, move on with our lives, but obviously that didn't happen. But in those 6 years, I did meet other men. And there was this one guy that I met in church that he was a godly man. A godly man, he was okay. You can't say he was ugly. He was relatively attractive. And people in church, they're like, oh my gosh, you guys are so spiritual, because we both were really into the word. And they're like, you guys should be together. And people were always trying to hook us up. Now, outside of me being in delusion, thinking my ex was the one, I knew internally, and this is what I kept saying, even after that whole incident, even after, that whole thing happened. And I would tell my friends that even if I didn't think my ex was the one, I would not marry someone like this. And it's not because he wasn't godly. It's not because he was ugly. But it's simply because, and I'm going to tell you, and hopefully from my story, I'm going to teach through my story, and hopefully that you grab some nuggets. We did not have anything in common outside of Jesus. Now, when it comes to having things in common, it's not about superficial things that I'm talking about. It's not, oh, he likes dogs and he doesn't like kitties and I like kitties. That's not what we're talking about. When I say that we didn't have anything in common outside of Jesus, I think that a lot of women don't take certain things into account when they're vetting men to really think to themselves, can I agree, right, to be with this person every single day for the rest of my life? The Bible says in Amos 3:3, how can two walk together unless they agree? And agreeing isn't about agreeing about every single thing, because there's compromises that you both can do here and there when it comes to how you want to live your life and all these other things. But I think a greater marker of compatibility is values. Okay? Do you both hold similar values? And your values come from things like, and people don't talk about this enough, your upbringing, your class, your even something like temperament, personality. Now, I don't want to get too much into temperament and personality because I do think that personality doesn't really matter that much. I know some women, they look too much into personality and I need a man who's funny. Girl, funny ain't gonna pay the bills. Like a man who's funny, but so what? Right? Like, why does he have to be funny? I understand why women want that because they want to feel something, but it's not just about that. When I say personality, I'm more so talking about a certain level of extrovertedness, right? Being similar in that regard. There's a personality test, it's like the big five oceans, right? I think it's like openness, conscientiousness, extrovertedness, agreeableness, neuroticism. Is it ocean or oceans? I think there's a S, but yeah, so the more similar you are in certain areas, the more likely you both will agree on how you want to operate your life. But then also, like I said, that upbringing slash class background, it's like this invisible, like this elephant in the room, like this invisible force that people cannot see. But it's there and it affects how you move through life and how you view life. So, for example, with this guy, he was born and raised in Nigeria and just came to the US a couple years ago, right? I was born in Nigeria, but I came to the United States when I was 3. So I was raised in the US, not in Nigeria. That disparity right there, that alone, you have two completely different worldviews, right? Even something like culture and cultural references, because I wasn't raised in Nigerian culture and he wasn't raised in American culture, I would make a reference to something in American culture that most Americans will have some type of semblance to. He had no idea. So I couldn't even crack jokes with him. Again, it's not about him being funny, it's just about him understanding, right? Like there had to be a mutual understanding of, oh, haha, this is how she is because this is how Americans are. I don't know. Or when it comes to food and experience, and that brings me to my second thing, which is upbringing, class background. I was raised in an upper middle class neighborhood to middle class Nigerian parents. That has a lot of implications, right? That's really loaded. But if I grew up from that class and I have certain experiences or I value certain things because this is how I was raised, right? We went on vacations. We went to Disney World. We went to Universal Studios. We went to resorts. We had family dinners. We went just different things. Even when it came to my friends, just certain things that we would do because we're Americans, right? Going out to eat some fast food or eating certain types of food, having certain experiences with friends. I have an entirely different worldview than he did. That does affect how we communicate and how we come together. Another thing is, like I'm saying, lifestyle. Oh, that's why I forgot to mention lifestyle. I just had to, again, we didn't have to be romantically involved. I just had to observe him in social settings, in group settings. We talked personally time to time. We were just friends. But ultimately, I'm just like, right? Not in a disparaging way, but like, this wouldn't work. I'm seeing him in social settings. Like for me, I'm an extrovert and I like to host. I like to schmooze. I like to talk to people. He is more reserved. He will just stay in a little corner to himself, not really engage much with anyone in the room. Again, that could be temperament, that could be upbringing. I have no idea. But when it comes to, I'm just going to make like a comparison. When it comes to, my husband is not as extroverted as I am. He's more of an ambivert. But my husband, I call him Mr. Congeniality, right? Like he can schmooze through a room. He can talk to people. He can laugh. He can entertain. He's usually going to go talk to men. But he's a good conversationalist. He's very comfortable in social settings. So we make sense. And if I want to host something, it's not like he's going to be in this little corner over here and not really talk to anyone or feel like, oh my gosh, I have to talk to people. And I don't, you know what I'm saying? It's not a weird thing. You're okay, sure. Let's hang out with them. Yeah, let's go. Let's do this. Sure. I like to hang out. That's how my husband is. So again, there was more of a compatibility there, right? So all this to say, because it's not just about him. Again, there's a point to all of this. And my point is, as a woman, you really do need to take these things into consideration. Yes, sure. when it comes to a guy being godly and spiritual. That's great, but I think that as Christian women, they've been taught that is all that matters. They've been taught that ultimately is going to have a successful marriage. And I think that if you have God in the center of any marriage, of course, that is success in and of itself. But then when it comes to the direction that both of you are going in life, I think that has some merit. Both of you guys have to agree. And we don't talk enough about these things that I just mentioned because it's so practical. Everyone is just praying and hoping that this perfect man falls from the sky. And because he knows some scriptures and because he knows some prayers, women sit here and delude themselves into God said that's my husband, but you have not even had a conversation with him. You don't even know if you agree. You don't even know nothing, right? You know nothing about him besides how he looks and that he can pray publicly. Okay. So we have to really get out of this place of just pure spirituality and start looking at the practical things of how are we going to walk through life. Because once you both leave the church, it's just you and brothers. And not even, when I say brothers, I'm talking about because he's a brother in the kingdom, but it's just you and an imperfect man. Once you people leave church, then what? You will not be talking about Jesus 24/7 in your marriage. You won't. Even if he's a pastor, like that might be a huge part of your marriage and what you guys talk about because that's his calling, right? Like my husband and I, we talk a lot about men, women, dating, marriage, because that is what we're called to do in this earth. However, that's not the only thing we talk about. That's not the only thing we talk about. We can talk about music. We can talk about going to see his parents, hanging out with his parents. We can talk about our child. We can talk about what we want to do in the future, what we want to eat, what kind of foods we like to eat. There's more to life than simply just reading the Bible and praying all day, is what I'm trying to say. So hopefully this video gave you something to think about. Let me know what you think about this video in the comments below, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.